Hey, family! We all have a story to tell. We all want to find our light. So, let's come together. Join me as I share mine of stardom to tragedy, motherhood, rebuilding my life and love. With hope and joy as we go back to connecting with each other on my new show. Catch season 2 of After Dark with Kaise. In this reflective episode, we sit down with 2 young celebrity fathers who are boldly redefining the narrative of Black fatherhood. Positioned at the intersection of traditional and modernity, the conversation explores how these modern-day Black dads are breaking generational cycles, challenging cultural norms, and making intentional choices to raise their children in environments that are safe, loving, and emotionally aware.
Have you ever done parenting hangover?
We sometimes take away moments from our children by letting them to stop doing things just for our own comfort, because that's what our parents did.
Together, they unpack the process of unlearning inherited notions of masculinity and confront the generational silence around affection and vulnerability.
Respect and kindness, and also respect women. Respect women.
I always tell her, if for as long as me and you are good, these kids will be amazing.
What unfolds is a raw, honest, and deeply human conversation about the joys, fears, and evolving lessons of fatherhood in today's world. Okay, so we're at studio, we're getting ready to shoot, and today we're shooting with some amazing dads, rewriting the narrative when it comes to Black fatherhood. And I'm here just in awe. So I want to know how they do it, how they've, shown up for the kids in this beautiful way that they have, and how, as they evolve as well, what it means to be a Black father in 2025. So yeah, looking forward to it.
But I'm here, man. Kaisa's been saying I must come through for an interview, and we've just been trying to align our diaries. So today kind of worked. It's my son's birthday, but I'm here. I'm looking forward to the conversation. I think this conversation is quite cool for me because I don't know, part of me has felt the need to hold back talking so much about my kids and showing my kids online because of just the climate around. Those are 2 humans I really like to protect from the world. But every now and then I realize that what we go through in our realities can help someone else along this journey of parenting, especially for my children. I feel like most of them run away from the responsibility of being a dad because some of them just panic and don't know what to do. And they leave it all to a woman. And she's also probably just panicking. It's just that she's bearing a child. So yeah, there's so much. So I'm here to help share my journey to the next brother who's probably about to become a father, a brother who's a father, a brother who's confused, probably you're about to co-parent, probably you're about to become a stepfather, just all those elements that come with becoming a dad. I think that's going to be the conversation.
Today I'm talking to 2 young celebrity dads about what it really means to rewrite the narrative of Black fatherhood beyond just being a provider. We'll be unpacking the joys, the fears, and the unlearning, and most definitely those quiet moments that make all those wins worth it. Joining me are 2 incredible fathers who are showing up fully for their kids as protectors, nurturers, and soft places to land. Radio and TV personality DJ Sabby, who is a proud husband and father of 2, as well as actor and media personality and darling Moshe Ndiki DJ Sabby, father of twins. Gents, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Hey, finally.
Also, I was about to say, I was like, after tag.
You know?
Exactly.
I can you light Masungo.
Thank you.
After lights are shorty. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much
I
for
am
having
looking
us.
forward to this incredible conversation about rewriting the narrative, or rather introducing this new era of fatherhood, which I think you're both such amazing role models for. But before we get into this conversation, sinetego apha kwa After Dark, where you know about amatego and Moshe. What we do is this is the lightbox, right?
Okay.
These questions that are hidden in here talk to us and really give us a lean into what it takes to be what you are at this light moment. So I'm going to ask Bana omnia no omnia, you're gonna both pick a prompt, read it out loud, and answer so that we can actually hear what your response is.
Okay.
And if I can, I'll also chirp in and throw in a response.
Okay.
You gonna go first?
I think I'm older, Moshe, you can go.
Moshe? And this is
To be young and beautiful.
Bulamdaze.
Lead the way. Why did you never?
And yes, Namti never said.
Okay. Okay,
Read it out loud.
Yo, send us money. Sorry.
That used to say the telegrams. What they used to call them telegrams?
Yeah,
Or
that's not
teleprompts. But okay, Moshe, what does it say?
Whew. She's starting off on an emotional note.
Wow.
What's something your father never said to you that you say to your child now? You're enough. You're enough.
Yeah.
You don't need to be anything more than what you are for me to love you.
Yeah.
Look.
Okay. And you got two to tell that.
Oh, but they are
enough.
So I can say it once. You're enough.
You're enough.
You're enough. Enough no.
Bavile.
Also by enough baphelele because by two. Woo.
Yeah, no. And
Yeah.
we're going to talk about how raising two at the same time has been for you,
Yeah.
Moshe. Sabby, for you?
Whew, I lost my dad, I was 10. So I don't think it's anything negative. It's just, it would have been great to know or hear him say, I'm proud of you. You know what I mean? Yeah.
That's
yeah,
it?
That's it. I think it would have been great to hear him say, I'm proud of me.
Yeah, I get that. I actually wanted to say the same thing.
Yeah.
My dad and I have a very complex relationship, but I love and respect him. I just sometimes wish I could hear that he's proud of me.
Yeah.
My dad is still alive, but yeah, it's just one of those things we grew up hoping for. Maybe he says Wenzek. Never
You
know.
know?
So
Maybe
that's
it's
that's why you're sitting on that side, because your dad is still alive. So nabeka Tina.
Tina.
Ngapha kwecala.
Oh, so ngibana
As Kanye
kwi-light.
West used to say, "Mandinga go."
Yeah, the foreplay was quite hectic. So
Yo.
let's see what is our banjan.
Hey, foreplay. Hey, yabona Sebi, how we make babies. Hey.
This one is quite okay. How do you define being a present dad in one word? You?
Ooh, and Sebi, awunayo la English wena.
Because one would think about being a present dad is already enough.
Yayiva ke.
Yabona mfethu.
Njani makunje?
Hayi pesti. Akho pesti.
Umqondo othi I think in one word, I think present and time for me, I was gonna say, immediately my brain is saying time, because that's what I wish I had with my dad, right? It's just time, and outside of providing security or providing shelter or providing all the things you can provide for your kids, something that doesn't require any currency, I think it's time. I think the fact that my kids know that dad goes to work, he comes home every night. I never had that. I never saw my dad leave the house and come back home. That's something that my kids look forward to. They know dad's gonna come home. They know dad is going to be home. So it's making time. You know, time defeats everything. So
And also, it's very hard in our careers.
Yes.
It's very, very hard.
Fast-paced.
It's fast-paced. Also, sometimes you'll be broadcasting in Durban.
Yes.
And also, you're not in Durban for those 3 hours. You are there for like 2 days because there's the setup, there's the getting up early in the morning and whatnot. It's,
yeah.
short time.
And sometimes you have to choose them over work because the moments are just so big. The milestones are just so heavy for you to miss. It won't happen again. They're not going to graduate from grade R to grade 1 again. They're not going to learn how to ride the bike again. They're not going to walk for the first time again.
yeah.
They're not going to say dad for the first time
So you
again.
can't miss those moments.
Certain moments, there's no currency. There's no invoice or PO that can take that moment. So you have to witness them.
Oh man,
Yeah.
beautiful.
For me, I would say here. When I'm with my kids, I need to be here with them.
Here and now.
Yeah, here and now, because I can't. I already feel, I don't know if you guys also, well, I think everyone gets the parent guilt when you have to work. And especially when you are running your own businesses and whatnot. Work for you, your office is home. But now you can't differentiate because you need to be on your laptop. Your kids are
And they
running
don't
around
get that.
and they don't get that. I'm just like, would I be like, dude, we can't kick Ebola
Right now.
like well, also like the whole day. I'll give it like 10 minutes. Then we're like, I need to be on a Zoom call. Then
And they just don't.
And I'm just like,
they don't.
And I try my best to say, I had a moment this week when I said, "Kaloku mntanam, utata funeka uyosebenza," and I thought that, how is it going to impact him in the future? Every time ngathi ngokuzawuthi utata had to go work. When
feels like
utata
it's
was local,
rejection.
it's like, oh, utata was choosing work over me, and I'm just like, well, we kind of need the roof. You kind of need the milk.
Yeah. Let's go back into the early times, guys, and thank you for sharing that so honestly, because Nyani, you are shaped by your own experiences.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that early, those influences and those early messages of fatherhood. Sabby, what was the ideal, type of a father? What were you taught a father is when you were young?
It's very tricky answering that question. I would say the early years of my life, there were glimpses of a man in the house, right? And I say that in the sense that I'd say probably the first 6 years of my life, my mom and dad were in a relationship. When I turned 7, they broke up. And that's when I started experiencing my parents separately. Now you start to experience love separately. You start to see who prioritizes you, who doesn't prioritize you, who you have a stronger relationship with. And then you have your grandparents, then you have your grandfather, people. Like, that's a man you sing, I'm a holid.
Yeah.
And my grandfather, from my paternal side, very strong man. Umkhulu was one of those men who the earliest memories that come through was just him always kind of like setting the tone, which is always wani. And there was a time when my brother did something wrong, I was like, I never want that to happen. So I kind of like saw reference with, okay, cool. I went to buy a shower life, they did wrong. And then there was my grandfather from my maternal side, and he was just this man who just loved his cows every time I went there. I looked forward to that moment. Milking the cows. He was also a polygamist. So I would get Coke here, get tea there, get all the things I want from the different houses.
It's very important to explain Coca-Cola.
Oh yes, Coca-Cola, yes. So sometimes I enjoyed the privileges that I could get from the different houses. So that was another reference of what a man can be. Oh, I can have more than one wife. Okay, cool. Oh. And then you grow up and then your mom and dad break up. You're like, okay, this is new. I don't understand what's going on. Yeah. So I got to experience different kinds of men at a very young point in my life. But one thing I knew as I got older is that I would like to just live like how they live go Morocco, where we all sit on the table and eat, and there's lots of food, fresh food. Dad works, mom works. Like that culture. And I knew a very early time I'm a one-woman man. Yeah. So it's terrible. I don't think I have the capacity. So I knew what kind of father I wanted to be. And what leads me with my journey of fatherhood is things that I would have loved to have done with my dad. So that's how sometimes I father from. It's okay, cool. That means so much to him. Oh, that means so much to her. So these are some of the things that I can really be present for. So I lead from that point most times, would see what would I have loved to have done with my dad.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You've answered so many questions that I thought were going to be follow-up, but
And he's giving all my answers.
I had to cheat sheet.
You know
I had
what?
to go through the memories. Gosh.
And that's exactly
because there's a point in life where I had no father.
Yeah.
And then my mom started dating. Then I had a stepfather, which was another story. Because now here's this guy that's supposedly going to take care of my mom, love my mom. And it took a while, but he was patient enough to kind of like work on me. And my mom allowed him, to work on our relationship. And I'll forever love him for the effort and the dedication that he put in. But not everyone has an experience like that with a stepfather, which is
very important. And Moshe, I think you and I share a sentiment about not our biological fathers, rather our biological fathers not being present, but we've had, figures who would be there.
Yeah.
So how would you say, in response to what Sabby's saying, has been, your early ideal or shaping of, what the father figure looks like, and how it's shaped you to show up as the father you are today,
I don't want to lie. In terms of a father figure, Dangaya's London, I never knew, because my mom has got a whole lot of sisters. Then there was my one uncle, and I got to a point where when it's Father's Day, it's just like, oh, okay. And then what? But Mother's Day for me was phenomenal. So when we speak, like, especially like speaking about like my dad or my memory or thoughts about, fatherhood, it did not exist. Now I'm honestly leading from my experiences with my mom. I can't say my dad came to watch my show. He didn't.
Yep.
Or watched, a play. It was always my grandmother. Utabawa mutamtam. It was always my mother. It was always my aunts. My first rugby game, which was my last, by the way.
Did it once?
I really know why now. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So they were the ones that kept cheering me on. And I don't want to lie, I've been surrounded by so many loving women in my family that I didn't even get a chance to crave it earlier on. To crave utata. But it was weird. Father's Day. It was only waiting Father's Day and his birthday.
So it was always externally.
It was, and yes, because now, then Nalando, I always had that thing. Yokoba, everything is done for me. My mom takes looking back now, Mom was like, no, I didn't spoil you. I just wanted to show you the world. I'm like, girl, what are you saying? Like she literally spoiled me. Kamnandi, and I grew up with respect. Not that about. But it was not, I didn't feel she was the type of person, but discipline go one, cha-cha. Oh, 5+1, ukile boy. Listen, because the ribs, can look at the ribs.
So she played both roles.
She played both roles for me to even feel the absence. I only felt it later on when I needed to go to the mountain. And now here is my dad gravitating towards me, and I'm just like, what do we even talk about? Here I am, I'm seeing this guy who's just doing zonges, and okay, cool. Now this is what we need to do. This is what we need to buy, and this is how you need to behave. This is what needs to happen. And I remember Sikwa Makulu, Amalinda. I'll never forget that moment where there was a big dog, so called Lion. And Lion literally was charged at the door, and I was standing by the door, and I screamed.
Who doesn't know English now?
I screamed.
Yeah.
I was like, ah! And I was like, tell that you more finger.
Yo.
Like, you don't even know me. You don't even, like, what? I then went to my grandmother's room. I cried it out, and like I'll never forget that moment. Umuntu ongandazi, you know, I'm like, I don't want to lie. My dad's family was there. My grandmother, my grandfather, Dabswam, not Danglibam, you know, they were still those that are still, you know, those that are alive, still play a very important role in my life. Yeah. And sometimes, not that I don't appreciate the role that they play in my life, but later on in life, as an adult now, and going to therapy and whatnot, I'm like, all of the love that you give me, I so wish that and I had put it into my dad and Ibenguwe. Yeah.
Whew. Moshe, thank you for that. And I understand how that trauma can show up, you know, and maybe it could even deter you from wanting to be a father, but clearly it was not strong enough to deter you from, you know, and how you came through with fatherhood. We got to see that journey, you know, through your reality show, you know, through Surrogacy. And I know that by the time we saw it, you had been on that journey for quite some time. And you, Sabby, are married with a partner, and you have, you know, somebody that you're raising these two beautiful children with. So it's different, but still very much the same in terms of. So I want to understand, Sabby, if you can share, what picked you up, really? What was that moment that you decided, okay, I'm stepping into this role and I'm going to do it this way? And what maybe would you say would be, you know, some of the insecurities you could identify from that time, even though you know that you had these present fathers, but I can imagine that, you know, there was something in you that was still fearful about this journey that you were taking up.
So me and my partner met, when? I think I was 23. When my wife was 23, she was 22.
Very young.
Then at 25, the conversation on kids started coming up. I was like, oh, say figile, let's chat. And mentally, I was just not ready for kids at the age of 25. Because I told myself, 27, I want to have kids. Marriage wasn't part of the cards because I was not exposed to marriage. But I was not, the idea of marriage wasn't far off. I knew what I'd do it, but I just needed to understand it a little bit better. So mentally, I was open to having kids before marriage because I was never pressed about marriage. Okay. But when I had my first kid, then I realized, no, actually, I should have got married because the whole thing, I didn't like that experience. For me, it just felt like there's something wrong I did. But that's another story. Now, when I was ready, it's because I once had a chat with one of the homies. And one thing I realized every time I spoke to Amachit about having kids, everyone spoke about money. But there was one homie I spoke to who was like, Mfana, you'll never have enough money. Money can't be the reason. And when 26 came, then I told my wife, okay, cool. I was like, okay, cool, let's place this order. I think because I didn't want it, like one thing I never wanted, guys.
Sometimes I go figure Uber Eats.
Yeah. we went to the bar. I had a gig at Capello. We made it an entire weekend.
Moshe, stop it.
We made an entire weekend. I had a gig on a Saturday at the Val. Yeah. So we decided to make it a beautiful trip because I wanted the memories of having this child to be beautiful. Yeah. I never wanted the story, good, yo, we mistakes, no, I never wanted that.
Oh.
I was like, so, okay, let's planned. So, the weekend, before Nani Seben's family planning,
yes.
And then weekend, na come back.
Yeah. Exit plan.
Oh, okay.
That's why it's time for you to evacuate the premises.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
love how imaginative his mind is.
Yes.
Yeah, he's going there.
I truly, like, I had planned this moment to the T with my wife because we wanted every moment of it to be just truly beautiful. That, yes. So when we tell the story, it's like, happy.
So no fears on your side, absolutely.
No, there was no fear. The only fear is because of the line of work I'm in, I just pray to God I never find myself in a position where I can't provide financially. That's it. That's the only fear. And I still think to this day, that's the biggest fear, financially. Yeah. Because of the life and the upbringing that I had, financially, that's the only thing I wish I had. But bengekho imali, you know,
And
tough.
like you said, sonke, we always wonder, will we ever have enough money?
Exactly,
So
and that
we
could have been
gotta
my
do
excuse.
it, right? Moshe,
Yeah.
I did speak about your surrogacy journey being
Yeah.
shared onto the reality show, and maybe some of our viewers have not even watched or never got the opportunity to watch that. Tell us about that moment where you decided, because like I said, I know behind the scenes it was a journey, you know, before we got to see it. I know you personally. How did you do that? What did you decide? And when you decided, what was coming up? What were those fears?
Yeah.
And how did you show up? And I think, Sabby, I'm going to ask you soon
Yeah.
as much as that. How did you show up during the pregnancy? Because we saw how you showed up.
Yeah. For me, my firstborn, because Singapore there's this thing that the twin that follows is actually the firstborn. And just like, hey, Sipilis novel, okay. Like, all right, so it's King Kai. Oh, so my actual first one, I've had this name since high school, Utaland. So my kids, they all have 3 names, just like me. So the first one is their own name. The second one is maternal, and then on the other side is paternal grandfather. And then it's my name. So Zenga's feature put a barcode on that nonsense. So Mutalanda, short for Latitalanda Ilanga.
Yeah.
And then it is Alexander, which is my mom's dad's name, and then Moshe. Yeah. And then on the other side, Nguntaba, Lihlohonolo, Siolo, right? And Utalanda, specifically this name, Utalanda, I've had it since I think I was in grade 10. And I was like, one day when I have kids, I'm going to, when I have a kid. Because at that time in high school, also, okay, I'm like, okay, Mara, tada.
I'm here.
So, I've always wanted to have kids. I've always wanted to have kids. My nieces and nephews, they know, uncle of the and then as I got older, like I had done my research, you know, even in varsity. But it's like, like, how is it gonna work and whatnot. Got into it, and the way that I wanted it so much, I was willing to do it alone. And then I was married at the time. Well, before I started the process, then I got married. Then my ex-husband was, you know, part of the process, and then we got divorced, but I still continued with it. And I was just like, this is something that I want to do. And something, and yes, being a parent, I'm not too comfortable with this word, but calling, because the way that you just get into it, it's just like, I was called to be here. You know, I was called to be here. You know, because it's just like, the tantrum, whatnot. To would be like, oh, they're making a noise. You know, or do something. But when they cry, I'm just like, and also it doesn't help for them, but not that childish. Yeah, childish, and I tease them. I don't want to I don't want to like my kids like snitch jokes. Snitch jokes. Whether they get them or they don't, but they find me hilarious.
I can only imagine having Moshe as your dad.
I don't know whether it's because they're struggling to pay rent, but
it's interesting because it really is, you know, and like I said, Moshe, we saw how he showed up. But there's an online conversation that's happening, and you're a Zulu man, and you know, you've done it the traditional way, cultural way. That conversation goes to, you know, Indota cannot be there in the delivery room because you guys are showing up now. You're there for the visits, you know, you're there for the delivery, and obviously you're there for the children's upbringing. But what about la conversation go to, hi, sexual intimacy is because you were there, you saw things you're not supposed to see. What's your take on that?
I just think I think in most times people just use characters for the sake of trending, but people take away the importance of learning in certain situations. We could truly have conversations to make it easy for abanye abantu. Some people hear these things and they decide to step away from their responsibility and they end up not doing things because of fear. You know, ezinye izinto amanga, but when it comes to isiko, ezinye izinto vele kufanele zenze. Like isiko is another conversation, but into enjalo ukuthi you see things and you're not going to want to do things. I don't pay attention to some of those things. I can't even share.
You're also in the
opinion.
delivery room.
Maybe
when your kids-
No.
That's all I want to know.
No, but I still remember because she had a cesarean and I always tell her, ngiyayikhumbula ithi
Yeah, my husband did the same. So, and I had an emergency C-section. So we thought we're gonna push baby out. Next thing, baby's not coming out. Next thing, we're being pushed. Hey, it happened so fast. So,
ngiyakhumbula umlenze wakhe bewula. Ngibona amathumbu.
Okay.
The layers.
The smell of skin.
I was in the delivery room.
Okay, and
just me and my
but
surrogate.
before the delivery, how important was it for you to have that emotional connection to the babies before they were
very
born?
important. Because I would go and visit. I would go because also our dynamic is different because also my surrogate is married. You know, so she stays with her husband. And this is now a staunch and traditional Zulu man.
Yeah.
So now, you know, it's one of those things, you know, but when I go and visit, Baba, don't, but you know, we're very close and we love each other, you know, but even also like through the process I had to do is like traditionally because when you meet some person I'm like we spoke about this, you know, it did not happen like that. So okay, sharp, so I'm just like my guy. But with being there, like my partner at the time was waiting in the waiting room, the husband was waiting there. It was just me and my surrogate. And when we went in, I was just like, sure, lady, we're going to walk out of here very different people.
That's true.
What's going to happen right now is literally going to change our lives. Never mind, Lena, we've been walking the journey, doing it, you know, 9 months.
It's become more
But
real.
they're about to pop. And yikes. So they got me into my scrubs, sharp. Then sharp, now Wangena, hey, I remember that just, you know, the setup as if it's something that just happened like 3 seconds ago. Up there, sharp, now they are prepping her for, you know, the cesarean. And she's like, you don't have to look. You can be in the room, but you don't have to look. I was just like, I'm actually interested to get BBL uzoyenza. And then it was shrub. And then that was what? Do you feel anything? No, I'm so next. I was like, oh, okay, actually, so so we just started chatting. Corner of my eye, I'm seeing layers and layers of meat and stomach.
Yes.
But I can't bear it. No, I can't bear it. What the hell do I know about I heard the first cry.
Coming a first cry, because I want you guys, and I like that first cry that you're talking about because now we are in fatherhood.
Yeah.
Don't let your emotions run things. Or else, because I always tell her, like, if for as long as me and you are good, these kids will be amazing.
Have you ever done parenting hangover?
Many times. You know, we are in that moment. You're navigating it. Like you said, it's almost like a switch that has to happen.
Yeah.
It's immediate. Umbambe for the first time. Sebi, I know you want to tell me, Mr. because it's double the price for you. But what does that moment feel like when you're holding your child for the first time?
I think the journey of fatherhood finds out the day we find out we're finally pregnant. Because everything then changes. Her diet changes. I need to support her. You start scaling down. You start preparing even Nendlu, there's certain things now you start switching up because you're getting ready for this person. The day Unkosi Mpile landed, and I remember when he finally aphuma lapha, the first cry was like, the immediate thing was thank you, God. When I heard him cry, it was like, thank you, because what the wife will never know, you consume so much, you read so much, because as Moshe said, when you go into that room, we come out as different people and anything can happen.
Yeah.
Right? Umntana ngaphuma, touch wood, or umama, or anything. Anything can happen. So to have a successful delivery, I was like, thank God. Immediately. Then Bang Jegisa, and I remember Dr. Lagavu showing me my boy. And you can't help it, man. Your eyes start watering.
You even remember the doctor's name.
No, Dr. Lagavu. Shout out to Dr.
goodness.
Lagavu, the best in the business.
Yeah.
She's delivered both our kids. And then I'm seeing our umbilical cord. Guys, that moment, it's a moment you wish can happen over and over and over and over. Because that's when you cutting the ties between him and his mom. Now I become the new umbilical cord. Now finally, I can play my part. Because for the longest of time, he's been relying, on umama. Now I can also contribute on feeding him, changing him. All those things, Nami, I play. But that moment, emotionally, I'm not going to lie to any guy out there. Softens
you up.
But you
Moshe,
become
you
so
already
protected.
soft. You already soft, honey. How did that feel? Holding not one, but two babies. Two babies.
Of which they were delivered minutes apart.
Yeah.
I heard that cry. And guys, it doesn't feel, it's not a shift. It's a whole change.
Yeah.
You get reborn. It's like,
Yeah.
And that's my biggest role.
Moshe
Imagine, I'm surprised they're still alive.
You can say that. I'm just like, and so will we. Game, and I really want your honest opinion.
I love you say that.
Also, like cutting the umbilical cord, right? Not taking away from the emotional part of it. I don't want to and the thing is, guys, there's my normal self, emotional and whatnot, but there's this crazy creature that stays in my mind where I'm just childish. Cutting the umbilical cord, I'm just like, it texture, it is condoms. It's irapari. Just like.
And now we cut and we are supposed to cut inyama. So you like, approve again.
Like it crying away that. So I'm just like, let's chase condoms in this, Cut. I'm bonding with this. I'm just like, oh my word. I'm just like, okay, sharp now. I'm like,
Cut it. Moshe, this is my house, okay?
Yeah.
This is my house. Behave yourself.
Sorry.
Because what do I say after that? Okay.
And that skin to skin moment. Sorry, you just took me back. Sorry. Because you go through Puma, Oya Lapana, Apumate,
and then
I'm sometimes Baba Raf, why are you being rough on my kid?
Yeah.
And then it's Lapana, then the mom is asking you, how does this kid look? Now you want to tell the truth, but
Guys, can I tell you what my husband said? I never expected it.
Yeah.
So he went to look at the boy. He came to look at me. I'm like, go easy. And then he looked in between his legs. Then he said, yeah. He said, yeah, that's my son. I was like, okay, I'm my son. We're not dead. Okay, guys, which one was the hardest for you? First 3 days, first 3 weeks, first 3 months?
I don't want to lie. For me, it was the first day of them coming home. Because they were born on the Friday. And then, confession time. I had a baby shower on the Sunday. People were like, "Oh my word, we
I
can't
go
wait
baby
for-"
shower, Teddy.
I'm telling you.
I could try a baby shower when it's still the dad.
Don't
they call it
They
something
are
else?
showering the baby. I had daddy shower.
yeah.
Come fresh, lady. Come fresh.
Sorry.
Because I was like, there was a lot that was happening at the same time.
Yeah.
I was in a relationship, but I was alone at the same time because this was my journey. And my partner met me when my partner at the time met me when I was. I almost said when I was 5 months pregnant.
You were kidding.
I was pregnant.
Yeah, you were.
Anyway.
Why did this make you have
This is my house.
on.
You don't touch people.
So, my partner at the time met me when I was 5 months pregnant. And so Yonkito was rushed and there was no money coming in at the time. I'm just like, yes, like, how am I? Because I've done everything. The nursery is ready. The wallpaper. Say Yonkito, ikhona. Go baby shower kabinayo. Little presents, but I would have preferred a lot of cash.
Yeah.
Oh, teddy bears, teddy bears, pockets in there.
Yeah.
So
Sabby,
Sunday,
first three days.
first day, sorry. First day was hard for me because because remember, born on Friday,
Yes.
you can't be discharged most especially. You can only be discharged on the Monday. Dropping off my surrogate and seeing her cry and being emotional and over. Okay, thank you so much. Now she's been working at this for 9 months, but the project is gone. The project, it was Dabulela Kakulu, thank you so much for everything. Dropped her off. She was in tatters. And then for me to get home, and you know what, I was with my mom, and she's still very close to my mom. We're still very close. She visits, her kids visit, like 60 grand. But for me to get home, as I'm, Jababeka, Ekotini, checking milk, whatnot, I get a call from work. And like, we're outside. I totally forgot that I'm shooting. Never mind shooting. I'm shooting away. I'm shooting in Bloemfontein. So I get there with I'm like, I wait to the episode A1, sharp. Get there, and they're like, where's the rest of your clothes? And they're like, actually, we're gone. The first 7 days I didn't spend with them. So that still haunts me up until today. But when I got back, the first 3 months were amazing. I hate waking up. But at 2 a.m. I was like,
Yeah.
was like, Donna got Tuli. And Bora Manch. Yeah.
Oh man.
So the first 3 days, first 3 weeks. Quickly.
I'd say within the first 3 months, postpartum kicked in early.
Yeah.
Postpartum, my wife became a totally different human, and she shared this journey. I've spoken about it, but if one was not educated as to what was happening in that moment, it could have broken us apart. So I'll say just that a postpartum affected move.
So Sabby, you've done this twice now.
Yeah.
You've got a beautiful son. I told you about how I'm obsessed about him. I think he's going to be another Sabby. He's giving
cool.
us that journalistic
He's cool.
thing. He's so cool, man. He's so
epic.
cool. You've done this.
He's cooler than you.
No, it's my gene.
Moshe,
He has to be cooler than me because I'm cool. So he has to be cooler than me. Our kids have to be greater than us.
you really do.
Yeah.
And you've done this twice, but each time is different, right? But how would you say, you would define how being present in those moments, whether it's the first 3 days, the first 3 months, or the first three weeks? What did you say? 3 days, 3 months, 3 weeks? It's a lot, right? But what happened in those times if you were to go back and talk about that?
Don't let your emotions run things,
Yeah.
or else ngekulunga. Remember that this person is joining a relationship that existed, and we now need to learn to put someone else first outside of ourselves. Also, there's family support. Now, my mom was still alive at the time when my son was born. Your woman wants to be the mom. And it's kind of sneaky. Your mom wants to come up. Her mom wants to come
Grannies.
up. Everyone wants to be here. But I knew, le movie, scene. you know when babies arrive, and Ori was not latching. And I could tell my wife was getting frustrated, would say, oh my gosh, what's happening? No. And then all these nurses would come and you go through latch, what. And you see the frustration. And then you go home. Then there's a disconnection that happens at some point. Then your mom arrives, ziyakhala, but my mom was so calm through my wife's moments and the moment of postpartum. That's when I knew what's ziyakhala as a loudspeaker. My mom was so calm during this. My mom would tell me, Kulenga, go to work, right. She'll handle Ori, everything will be cool. She would pray a lot, we'd come together and pray. But she still wanted to do things. Talking about my wife, she still wanted to cook, but mentally she wasn't there. So sometimes pega, but I don't think she was aware that she was actually cooking, but she wasn't really in her normal state. And you start realizing with amanyama conversations, mentally she wasn't present, so you end up having arguments, and then you realize at that moment, I have to give a shout out to the What to Expect app. For me, it played a massive role because that app kept me 7 days ahead. Because when I discovered that app, I knew what was going to happen, how she's going to be, what to expect with the child. So I arrived at those spots quicker and earlier. So when something would strike, I knew how to deal with those. So that was my solution to dealing with that moment. And before you know it, it changes like this.
And I love that you're touching on that, Sabby, because it means that there was a part of you that had to pull out that emotional gentleness from wherever it came. Maybe it's the fatherhood gene or whatever, I don't know. Because with us, Gastrosa City, Inimba, yo, and that's go Sabby, because you need to have that emotional gentleness for yourself, for your partner, but also how you end up raising children who will probably be emotionally, exposed and have capacity because you are showing up that way. Yeah.
No, I remember we had one argument. Then I left, I went into my car. Then when I got into the car, something was like, that argument was stupid. That argument was dumb. It was probably like the 10 days since my kid arrived. Then I went back to Endlini, looked at her, we hugged at each other, and then I realized, good, if I lead this with emotion, it's not going to be the easiest. And then it's allowing her to be assisting.
And creating space.
Yeah, create space. Don't suggest too much also.
Yeah.
Certain things, and assist her, remind her about how great she is. Being present and words of affirmation, telling her that she's doing great. The healing process, I think sometimes as a machita, we take for granted, especially if cesarean. Guys, going to the bathroom is a mission. The body has changed. She doesn't like her skin tone color. She doesn't want to see herself in the mirror. Winning, and your life hasn't stopped. You can still do all these things, go to work, and she feels like she's in one place. So all those things, they play a massive role with healing. Umzimbo healer, but if the mind has not healed, you're still going to be dealing with a beast. So that plays a massive role in the journey of a healing.
Moshe, for you, and that's beautiful because that's what a partner deserves. But you said yours was different in every way because this person has their own partner, and you've had to navigate being a queer father in the public space, showing us this journey. And how have you had to be intentional about how the world perceives your children? How have you had to be intentional about how they would want to be also received? What must be said to them about how they came into this world?
With my kids, because a lot of parents, they'll be like, oh, no, don't. Obviously, a lot of advices come in as you're about to be a new parent. So it's like, no, don't post your kids on social media. No, don't do this. No, don't do this. And I'm just like, how would I do it? Because my journey and also doing the reality show was to show to every queer person out there that it is possible. Not at an international stage, because in the outside world, like, go grand. See it about South Africa. Hey, abantwana benziwe lab. I'm just like, hey, guys, don't let me say drink up pop. They're people, they are alive, they are healthy, and a lot of advice that I would get from my uncles was, Mchana, bakhulise ngothando. You can into because a lot of people will be like, every time I post my kids, a lot of people are happy. You know, let's say out of 100 people, 95 people are, oh, cute babies. We want to spend time with them. Actually, post less of yourself. Post more of them. I understand. But the personality, it's okay. It's whatever.
It is what it is.
No. Like when you tell me, your son is actually the personality.
He's amazing. He's amazing, and I can't wait to see your two. Utalanda is already showing us.
Yeah, but
he's the boss of the house.
So you know, it's then dealing with the negative comments of, oh, one day they'll ask about their mother. Why did you do this and bring them into a world without a mother? And I'm just like, there's so many single dads that are out there, you know, and there's a small community of us. I'll give a big shout out to Utukela. He's been such a big support, you know, in showing me, and he's also raising a son.
And he's also a queer dad, right?
He's a queer dad raising a son, and he showed me, you know, about, oh, okay. And I remember when I was doing Redefining Cook, because I was so worried about people saying, you know, about, oh no, you're going to be raising queer kids. I'm like, no, that's not my choice. It's their choice.
It's not parentally transferred.
Exactly. You know what I mean? And also, I remember we did a show with Anelino, I like it. And I was like, you know, Abandwana, how do we navigate it? And the best parenting advice till today, I'll never forget that line. Don't raise the kid that you want, raise the kid that you have. And I was like,
and I can take from that, oh, that is so beautiful.
Because
they're going to be their own persons anyway.
Exactly. Because now also I was just like, when I see my kids, I'm like, Dibona doctors bani, no charge bani. Because God looks at and not in the artist, in the supporters in the artist, bapande.
I see.
But when I said that, shooting Redefining Cook, Anela was like, but now imagine the artist becomes a Tyler.
Because they can only do better than you.
You know, now imagine and I was just like, hi, Chobisam, the world is your oyster, and that's why Nakobe fainted. But enjoy his fainting. So I'm like, okay, sharp, Achimoroka.
Welcome to parenthood. They're very manipulative, those little ones. Sabby,
yes,
you're doing this with your wife, and you're intentional about it. You are a present dad. How would you say you describe that? Like, how do you show up as intentional and, you know, very much present beyond what society expects of men in today's world, you know, because there's a lot. Expectations, but now as a man, you know, as a father, as a husband.
I think number one, it's the ability to allow to be led. You know, be led. You know, let your partner create room, create a route, follow. You know, especially with the second baby, because there's certain experiences and pain and trauma that she probably went through that I will never know of. Right? And even if she explains it to me, I don't think I'll probably understand. With the second baby, she's probably trying to do right and unlearn probably what she did with the first baby with this baby, you know, and all I can do is probably, the best I'm doing is just being there. You know, doing what I feel is right, communicating. You know, we have an amazing synergy in the sense of telling each other the truth. I didn't like this, I didn't like that. Because now we're dealing with we can't use experiences from Ori. That was a boy child. Now we have a girl. It's a totally different world. Totally different experience. I'm learning. You wipe down, you know, wipe up. Small stuff like that, you know.
Oh, yeah.
It's small stuff like that. The amount of milk she drinks and the eating schedule. Small things like the nuances of raising a baby girl, totally different to the previous experience. But to answer your question in the simplest form, it's her allowing me to lead where I can. Is me allowing her to lead. It's me allowing myself to unlearn. It's me allowing the team of us, the us being a team, to do what teams do, and that's working together to afford these children the best versions of parents that they can possibly have.
Yeah.
Because I always tell her, like, if for as long as me and you are good, these kids will be amazing. You know, because what tends to happen once you put them in the forefront, then we are not aware of where we stand, both of us.
Yeah.
Then we kind of like lose each other. It starts with the two of us. For as long as we're good, these kids will have the best life ever, because I saw what happens growing up in a space where your mom, ule taxita mandeni, ubaba wakho solundi. I never want that, a disjointed family. So I always tell my wife, for as long as we're good, these kids will be amazing. That's why postpartum was easy to navigate, because I was aware of what was happening. And I think most guys, we tend to leave our partners during that moment of postpartum because it's a foreign world. You feel like what's going on. Understand what is happening and just allow yourself to unlearn and be there, and you'll be surprised. My cable are off for a few weeks, few days, but if you're aware of it, she's back like nothing ever happened. Because now
But she's
it's
got
happening.
that emotional safety.
Exactly, and it has to be from you.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
It is.
Yeah.
It really is.
Oh,
And
that
did that emotional intelligence come naturally to you, Moshe? Or is it something you're still leaning into?
I don't want to, like, for me, at where I am right now with the kids, it's just me and them. No sis Tuma, who's my cousin, Mabuki. They are the most phenomenal people with my kids, you know. Lando Yokuba, abantwana must say, they don't know what they're saying. They just ba 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 ba, tata ba ba. For them, it's whatever. But when they respond, when they are being themselves, Moshe,
Yes.
Thailand has already started, isn't those or tata, like what's this, pillows when he's not happy about something. I'm just like. Yeah, and then when emotion.
Yeah.
But it's because of something that I learned is and this, you know, they are regulating, they don't know what this emotion is of dissatisfaction. For instance, if Utalanda is eating something and then Untaba comes and grabs it, Untaba knows that he's faster. So now they're busy chasing each other, and I'm just like, show me. I didn't take the food.
Yeah.
Because at first I'd be like, how you done? I'm like, but no, wait, now I'm just letting them be
into their
you know, they must just do them. And with Umambuki no Koma, I take my hats off to them, because I would be nothing without them. You know, I would be nothing without them in terms of how they also understand kids, how they also understand me. Also, guys, I don't want to lie, because it's in your age, parents. Have you ever done parenting hangover?
Many times.
Yo. It's like, need my two, but not just my 100. Chunga, kapa, betonga mahoris.
We have Villa. And you're going to be extra.
Yeah.
Now, they've gotten to a point where they know where my room is. They know how to open it while Talanda knows Undaba is still a bit short. So he opens and then comes in. He knows where to switch on the light, and then comes in like, and it get remote park. I'm like, yes, boy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I can't be angry, because
You can't.
it's just like, yo, wake up and
It's that holding back,
put in exactly like
patience.
putting in, okay, sharp. I can.
We sometimes take away moments from our children by letting them to stop doing things just for our own comfort. Because that's what our parents did. You can't do anything because abazali bethu abafuna ukubona.
That's the nerves.
Like,
nerves.
Like now, I've had to give up my favorite spot of watching TV.
Oh yeah, you've said that so many
to my
times.
son.
Because
I've showed you guys.
literally.
Talent would be like.
Guys, you're both here because you are both rewriting the narrative, the Black fatherhood narrative. And there's so many stereotypes that have been attached to that. If we go back into time, I think the three of us sitting here can pick a lot, you know. And that's what's always been showcased. That's what's been shown to the forefront. What are some of the narratives, and maybe even how are you trying to rewrite them in how you show up as a father in today?
I think my cheetah starts with small things. Change that nappy, bro.
Change that nappy.
Change that nappy, bro. Like, Mwash umntwana, feed the baby. I think certain things, because they've been labeled good, no, mama ngane wenza lokho, mama ngane wenza lokho. No. Dog, it's just so dope. Just be there, man. Like, you know, change the nappy. And you be surprised. You can tell the status of your child's health by the poo. It's okay, cool. What I couldn't think, right? You know what I mean?
It's right.
And immediately you can take decisions as a parent.
What are you feeding my kid? I'm buying the best milk. When's
Some people in the crew are like,
Have you gotten pee or poop on your face?
Oh, that's why I'm like, I was
guys.
We am clean alone to keep
4 nappies. You change up. Amana's poofing. Uchinje enye. Ngoba nje athi cha. Uphinde cha. And then I'm just like, yes in don't just guys and then
Who's second potty training as I'm Nandi stage and my son is autistic, but Jonga, like it's a lot. This weekend
it's a movie.
Bendi traumatized, literally. And I mean,
And you've been doing it for a while.
I've been doing it for a while.
Yes.
But you just have to pull out into What do you think, Moshe, for you, you know, being a father, what has it pulled out of you in terms of your understanding of what masculinity is and manhood is as you continue to navigate and rewrite this narrative of Black fatherhood?
For me, it's
Hi Nana, and the social media.
I would shoot 4 episodes a day of Ready Steady Cook and come back home tired as hell. But I was like, there's no reason my child is not going to be on my back and cook supper. And I remember that day I was making lasagna and I was like, you know, I was like, I'm going to because I can't carry you because I need to make you supper. So what's going to happen? That is the day where my aunt was just like she was taking a video. I was just like, wow. And I was like, wow, so amazing. I don't want to like us. Parenting, but yes, at the end of the day, it is a beautiful journey. It is amazing, but it is stressful. It is stressful.
Hella.
But it's a family show.
So...
But
did they take my house?
So I had my child like on my back and I'm like, it means for lasagna. I'm like 10 kilometers with the baby on her back. I was like, to get some water. I'm like,
that was you.
You know, I look at my kids and I'm just like, I've got so much love for you. And to incoming parents, to present parents, I want to say it's okay to be irritated.
Yeah. Yes.
It's okay to have those moments where you're just like, Ndikuthini. It's okay to feel, you know, because a child is crying, I can't communicate about what they're feeling. Now you as the parent, you're getting frustrated. You know, what must I do? Must I help? Must I pick you up? Must I, but means or must I? Allow your must I's. Or must I's, allow them to do your
journey for both of you.
Yes. Exactly.
It's a new journey for both
and also, even if it is your firstborn, it's a new journey. And if it's your secondborn, also, it's totally different because this is another personality, you know, but allow yourself to cry. Allow yourself to get that one moment, a garage, take it down.
And scream it out.
Exactly. And also don't feel bad. Like WTF.
Yeah. And you're both I mean, you're both in the public eye and you're both raising boy children.
Yeah, we are.
We them boys. Oh.
How are you allowing that, to really be an example of how you model what parenting is for boy children? Also, particularly by the fact that you guys are both in the public space, and kids nowadays are so hyper connected. There's social media, like there's so much that they can be exposed to. Tell me about, like I said, I love your son because I've seen him on social media. How do you model that for him?
I think my son he's fortunate, man. He's now at an age where he's doing too much. It's too much. Bro, what you mean? You've been running a school, you've been playing soccer, and you still got this energy to run around the house. And deep down, because our parents say, yeah, stop it. Now you want to say that. And then mentally, you're like, but he's a kid. That's what he's supposed to do.
Exactly.
And shout out to my boy Kenny. He plays a big role. Kenny, I don't know how he does it. We'll be driving, and these kids, it's going down in the back seat, hey? And he literally can just move on like nothing is happening. And I learn, and it's so important that you expose yourself to other men, because you can take something. Then you ask, Mvana, how do you do it? How do you pretend like nothing is happening?
Yeah.
Because you can't be telling kids, stop doing this. They're kids. Yes, that's what kids need to do. And I think we sometimes take away moments from our children by letting them to stop doing things just for our own comfort. Because that's what our parents did. You can't do because abazali bethu abafuna ukubona.
That's in their nerves.
Like,
nerves.
Like I've had to give up my favorite spot of watching TV in the house.
You've said that so many times.
Because I've showed you guys, Talent would be like,
Suka endaweni yami.
guys.
Ubasukela abantwana. You brought them into the world and likhaya labo.
It's literally their house.
Yes.
It's literally their house. They want to jump into my bed and they decide, well, we want that space empty, but we want to be next to you. What's that? The bedside table. I'm just like, okay, sharp. That time, Bonwabile is like, come, and I'm like,
Which part of you shows up the most when you're parenting, Moshe? Your inner child. Which part of your inner child shows up the most? You've already told us you're quite childish, so I don't know if you can pick one.
I don't want to lie. It's that, and being playful with them. Like, we chase each other around the house like nobody's business. Exactly. But the game changes when the one runs this side, then the one runs this side. I'm just like, because my egg donor gave me 30 eggs, and then I fertilized 16. I was like, there's no way I'm raising 16 kids. I was like, just choose the best of the best, genetic-wise, with everything. I got left with 7, and then they were like, Masfage 2. And I was like, dog, what do you mean 2? It's like, no, so that you don't have to spend more money to, insert like 2. And I was like, oh, okay, that money versus the cost of raising another life. What do you mean? Then my surrogate was like, come on, please. I can handle carrying twins. And I was like, okay, sharp. Clamby 01 is not going to hold. They both held. Now I've got... Oh, no, you want to fluke. I'm just like,
For you, which part of your inner child shows up the most?
I don't know. I don't know how to answer it. Sometimes when you're bamba, sometimes if you're bamba, like how Umamngane and all these other women that used to beat me up to try and bring sense into my world, then I let go. Because nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to change. And talking to him is also teaching me to talk to the inner child in me, to let the inner child in me understand, don't do this, and why you shouldn't do this. Because I remember when I was young doing what he was doing, being forced to being forced to do all these other things. Make a child understand why they shouldn't do 1, 2, 3.
And why they should.
And why they shouldn't. And that way they understand instead of them doing out of fear. It's small things like sometimes, my grandmother-in-law, when she was around, this whole thing with him, I'm gonna tell your dad. I fight it. I don't want the kid to be scared of me. Because mina saying is symbol of authority. If you don't do it, yeah, I mean I saying, man, you sing him jelly look what's in 1, 2, 3, then do it. Make them understand. You know what I mean? Like small things I tell my son, when you wake up in the morning, you open the curtains, you open the window, let fresh air in your room, then you go shower. When you're done showering, clean up. Like small things,
and
you know.
this responsibility.
Can't
you see
get to that age where I
Utume.
you know, and also just getting them into a rhythm of this is what you must do, this is, you know, this is what is expected of you. And just having a conversation,
Yes.
What do you feel is expected of me? Okay, Dad, especially because our age is good, less time on your phone, for instance, because sometimes we don't understand how much we are on our phones. And we forget, interaction. As soon as it's cute, you can't help but, it's your clothes up. No, sometimes that's experience it for yourself.
Absolutely.
And also some learnings, because we're a team, I know that there's certain things that he appreciates more or he takes in when he's told by his mom. So, please.
Okay.
Tell your son, good team.
As a team,
then
how do you feel about this
same thing. No. And vice versa, because my son is truly his mom's boy. Like he loves his mom through and through. Small things like some man taking bath. The mom will show him the clothes because he gets excited when the mom takes them out the packet. It's like no. Oh, you know. And then with me, it's the shoes.
But that's his first reference of a woman as well. I don't know, you know, like to me, who else would he want to impress?
Now
right?
I got my baby girl.
Yeah, and I love her name.
I
love her name because it's got a little bit of me there. I don't know. Yeah, Nagayis.
Yeah.
Respect and kindness, and also respect women. Respect women.
Recently learned to putting her head on my chest is a hug, and then she just listens to my heartbeat. Like, come on. What else do you want in life?
Let's talk about the joys, the hopes, the legacy, the future. You know, what has been, and Moshe, maybe I'm going to direct this one to you first. What has been the most important and maybe joyful parts of fatherhood for you?
One, spending time with my kids, playing with them, putting them to sleep, because that's quite a difficult one. It's quite a difficult one. But more than anything, my hopes and my dreams for Abandwana Bam, especially because it's boys, is respect and kindness, and also respect women. Respect women. Now, as much as we're by a single dad, but their nannies, you know, are women. They're grandmothers, and that's why I even said in the beginning, but I draw my strength from the women lineage. You know, in the this is how it should be, and because a lot of you know what's happening in the country with GBV, with men, you know, attacking women, and I'm just like, I so wish that you don't become one of those people. And also, it's something as a parent that you can always wish for, but also in Doyokuba, they've been Abantu that are serving 25 to life right now in prison, but they were raised by umfundis and non-umfundis. So really, where do we hold the power as parents? But we can guide them. We can instill values in them. Into yokuba sukuyenza into ethile hlonipha umuntu ongumama. That's all I want from them. But hloniphe umuntu ongumama.
Oh man, Moshe, what a beautiful way to say it. Yeah, I know. Now I'm even going to fist pump, but you see it. I love it. Sabby, for you, in closing and adding to what Moshe has just shared so beautifully, what would you say is that everyday moment for you that confirms that you were made for this? Because I think Moshe just did tell us he was made for this.
Number one is just coming home and they see me. Number one, they see me. You know this thing which sometimes you know what I mean? Now you gotta feel like you gotta do something. When I come home, My son runs, gives me a hug. My daughter's out here in that little thing of hers. And then she just looks at me. Because she can't hug me as yet. Then I pick her up. And then she just recently learned to putting her head on my chest is a hug. And then she just listens to my heartbeat. Like, come on. What else do you want in life?
Yeah.
You know? But as I told you, another thing, like just alluding to what Moshe was saying is that I parent from what I wish I had, right? I never had the greatest relationship with my siblings, you know, because Baba had ingane lapha, Mom had kids ngalena. So those relationships were not so great. One thing I want my kids to know is that no person should ever come between the relationship. In him. My son must know, sister comes first, sister must know, brother comes first, protect each other through it all. Love each other, be there for one another. Look out for your mom should, you know, dad's name get called by heaven. But just always know, Guti, you guys are the closest reference, or the nithandane, man.
Yeah.
Nithandane.
Never comes
Nikunane.
between.
Because for me, family is everything. There's certain dynamics you wish were never a reality for you. Hence I say, I just want my kids to respect each other, love each other, respect uNkulunkulu, bazi ngesiko. I think sometimes ukhula kwethu kunezinye izinto zesiko that we tend to forget. I want to expose my children to isiko. Kunezinye izinto kufanele bazazi and why we do them. Hence sometimes makuhlaba abafowethu manje abasakwazi nokuhlaba sesihlele nje eceleni. I just want my son to be aware of it. Sihlabelani, sihlaba kanjani. Bazi futhi nemvelaphi yethu emakhaya. Let's take our kids home. Ngeke sihlale egole ema-suburbs the whole time. Ingane fanele zazi ukuthi siphuma kuphi. Sazi ulimi esilukhulumayo. So those are just some of the things. I just want my kids good noma sengekho. They can stand by themselves and they can be themselves. But the most important thing, that's it.
And that's closing it beautifully. I wanted to throw to the floor. Wuti, gents, what would you want your children to remember you most for?
I love them.
In one word.
I love you guys.
Uthando.
And that's it. We've come to the end of After Dark with I said today I've had an incredible conversation with the both of you. You've healed me. You've healed parts of me that I thought I could never confront. Maybe I need to go to my dad and tell him that this is how I would have wanted you to show up for me. And it's never too late, guys, because I think by having these conversations, we really are rewriting the narrative of Black fatherhood.
Do it now, else is of having come. Because now when they did, I feel like proving a come.
Oh, because I'm angry. Yeah.
Then you got all of them.
Thank you. That's it. It's a wrap.
I hope you appreciate it.